Okay, so hi everybody, my name is Elizabeth, and I actually work for Intel, but nobody knew that when they invited me. Yeah. I didn't know this was an Intel event.
That's a really embarrassing story. So I went up to him and said, "Oh, your face looked familiar," and he said, "Yeah, we saw each other in the canteen today."
So this presentation has nothing to do with Intel. It doesn't even have any Intel technology in there. I'm sorry. And it's also very different from the presentation before because it's very low level and very simple. So this is technology I think from the 80s or 90s. So good. So the idea. So the idea is was a practical problem. I have a bathroom without a window. I have a radio in the bathroom, and every time I go into the bathroom, I switch on the light and I switch on the radio. So basically, being an engineer, I can do a flowchart with this. So if it's too dark, I turn on the light. If I want music, I turn on the radio. If I leave the bathroom, it's the other way around. So basically, if you're like me, you always want light in the bathroom, and you always want the radio. So this can be simplified a lot. And what I wanted to do is that the radio turns on when I enter the bathroom and turn on the light. That's basically what I wanted to do. So this is perceptual computing at the peak. Well, that's what I want to do. And what I have, or what I had basically, is a standard internet radio from Logitech. It's a squeeze box radio. And the good thing about this radio is one thing is it has a light sensor. And it is running an operating system that I can work with, so it's running Linux. And this basically makes it very easy to read out this light sensor because there's a device file somewhere in the file system which you can find, which tells you the current brightness in visibility. So if I turn on the light in the bathroom, this switches from a high number to a low number. And if you have all this information, you can use something in a very high-level language like Bash, where you just read out the file, you define some thresholds so that you don't have the radio toggling on and off if it's somewhere in between. And then basically you run this and check every second for a number in this device file and turn on the mixer or turn it off.
You simply mute it.
Yes.
Turn it off, it's always on.
Yes, it is. Well, that radio is running all the time anyway, so that's okay. I actually measured the power consumption, it doesn't change.
Okay.
But this doesn't matter.
Okay.
But this is a very, well, practical way of using some kind of sensor information to do something you want to do working. I can't show it at the moment because I've sold this radio. I'm now working with the Sonos system. I don't know if you're aware of this. This is an internet connected radio as well. And I hate to say this, an event with an Arduino board.
We don't discriminate, so that's fine.
Which is connected, well, to the network that Sonos is on, and if it detects some light, it sends an XML message to mute the radio. Will you mute the radio or unmute the radio? So this is version 2, which I don't have any slides on, but it's working even better than this one. So, okay.
How did you get access to the Linux? Is there a console or
yeah, you can just SSH into the radio.
What, really? Okay.
I think there's a menu item to navigate to first and activate your SSH.
Okay.
And Sonos the same?
No, Sonos is running Linux as well, it's closed, but
So
somebody brighter than me on the internet disassembled the protocol, and I got just got the messages that you can send on the radio.
The same bathroom and Sonos there.
So you could basically use your phone for that as well, using the light sensor in the phone, sending it
Yeah,
to
sure.
your Wi-Fi.
Sure, if you want to keep your phone lying in the bathroom.
Okay, well, okay. Sounds like a old phone.
One thing is it doesn't work if you have a window in the bathroom. Yeah, shut it.
With bricks.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so this is probably the worst presentation I ever did, because I just slammed this presentation together in Google Drive yesterday, last minute. And it's basically a two-part presentation. One part is going to be about the front end on user interfaces on a website which runs a CMS content management system, which I was thinking about a lot because the first server I ever set up was a free web hosting project, and it did not allow curl or any other socket connections from server to server. So if you wanted to download any files from any other server, you had to do it manually using FTP, and that wasn't what I wanted to do. So I built a workaround using JavaScript and just a bit of basic PHP to download files using JavaScript from a server and then write them to your own server using PHP, and I have a demo for that. And a quick source code afterwards, but basically this is the setup for a content management system I'm working on. So it allows me to set up a basic password, and after that it allows me to install the core system, which downloads in the browser using JavaScript and installs itself to the server. So if I now check this folder, which I was just running this thing from, it should have more files, which it just installed using JavaScript.
So it's a bootstrapper installer to install your CMS on a server.
Yes. It's basically one file installer which allows the user to set up anything from a browser. Oh, great, amazing. Oh no, it is. Yeah, as you see, it now has a few more PHP files and PNG files that I just downloaded from my root server and installed on this testing folder. And basically, it just needed one file, which is this cms.php file, which basically Bootstrap downloads all the files from my other server. And they are actually just inserted into the web page as a JavaScript file, and they run a function that handles the content of the file that posts them to the server via Ajax, which is, I can tell you, it's not a good thing to do. But it sort of works, and it basically gets around this problem with not having curl or any socket connections on a free web server. So if you're a user and you want to set up a blog or something, it's basically the simplest way of setting up something, even though it's not the best way for the developer to write it. But, so this is the backend page which sees if you post any content or file to it, and it also allows for encryption using RSA. Is it called RSA? The key encryption is this? RSA, yeah, right. And it allows, because it can download, in the Bootstrapper, it can download a library which is called libphp secure or something, whatever. And it can use that for encrypting and decrypting files or verifying files that have been signed to ensure that there is no viruses or anything downloaded to your server, which would not be what you want. The other thing I have is actually a server that is emulating HTTP and PHP functions in JavaScript using Adobe Air, which is recently implemented an update that allows for running socket connections on TCP and UDP only in JavaScript, and basically Flash if you want to develop in Flash, but I personally don't. Because I think that's just not the future. And if I run this, it should work, and yes, it does start a server, and I can basically tag in any port I want. I'm just going to take port 1337 for reasons unknown. And yes, it is working, and let's see if I can access this on And yes, it does actually allow me to access the server. And what it does is parses a file which is similar to a htaccess file, which is read in JavaScript and allows me to redirect URLs to other files. So if I want to redirect using mod rewrite, I can do that. And what I'm currently working on is the PHP part, which is what I'm calling JHP, which is basically parsing any content into the system using the eval function, which is not actually load in air, but there's a workaround for that, and it sort of works. And the nice thing about that is that you can run native file processes and basically system interaction processes in air, because that's what it supports since like 2 releases. And it's actually proof of concept. It's not going to be very stable, it's not going to be very fast, but I'm going to build a server version for that for my backend, for the other thing I showed you before. So yeah, that's what I'm working on. It's just an inspiration.
Do you have any questions?
What 5 permissions do we have on the server?
Question? Sorry, I think a better question.
5 permissions on the FTP server. That's the same as PHP.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Write, read.
Yeah, you can write and read, but the thing is, it allows you to manipulate the file you're writing onto the server on 3 stages. It allows you to manipulate it while it's in the remote server, while it's in the browser, and while you post it to the server. So you can have the user interact with the content you're delivering in real time. So you can basically download a file and then see that the file still needs some configuration, and then have the user enter configuration information in real time while you're writing the file. So you don't need callbacks for that on PHP. Any more questions?
Is the CMS the right use case? I think there are better ways to show how, I don't know, I mean like...
Yeah, there is better ways.
So, yeah.
But it's just something I was developing for myself because I like meddling with stuff, and it's like not really professional at all.
But did I understand you correctly? So you're 18.
Yeah.
He's 18, people. That is like,
That
you know,
is just
shameful.
normal.
Amazing. Anyway, thank you. What were you guys doing when you were 18?
Drinking.
Alright, hello everyone, my name is Claudio, I'm a PHP and JavaScript developer, and tonight I would like to share with you a little story about a journey and how it ended up into a Windows 8 hackathon in which I ported a little application I developed for one of our clients. So, as all the stories, we need a place to start. So, in this case, this place is a city called Alba that sits in the hills of southern Piedmont in Italy, and this is where everything began. This city is, quite well known for its products. Most importantly, wine, white truffles, but probably most of all, Nutella. But I'm not here to talk about food actually, even though it's sweet. So I'd like to introduce, the main character of our story, who is Umberto. He is basically the founder of this project, and in the past it was like he was in a building business. He was a building contractor. So it made up his fortune, like building houses, stuff like that. So at some point in his life, though, he felt like he had to investigate a bit more in himself due to some happenings in his life, most specifically about his dreams. So he started a journey, into his dreams. So basically, gather a team of psychologists and philosophers and wrote, some materials, among which a book, which translated sounds a bit like Between Reality and Utopia, There and Back Again. And now this is in consideration about the state of, okay, this is more about nightmares than dreams, but probably if you read it, you need a degree to get that. But anyway, he made some writings and paintings and stuff like that. And after years of work on himself, he thought that it would have been good and nice to share his experience and his journey with the world. And so, what's best than the internet for doing such thing? And so this is more or less where we stepped in. Basically, he contacted a company doing UX and UI in southern Switzerland, Sketchin, who in turn contacted us for doing the development part. So they started prototyping a few ideas, writing documents and working with psychologists to come up with a working prototype of the idea that Umberto had that I'm going to present in a moment, which basically is a website that allows you to track your own dreams and keep your own journal of your dreams. This is because all of his work was related to dreams and to improving the self-consciousness through the analysis of these dreams. So basically we built a website and a mobile application running on iOS that has been launched in November 2012 and now has reached almost 5,000 users. Here we see the dashboard from the website and the mobile application. And in process of building this website, which I was responsible for, the web part, there have been a few challenges. So the most interesting, for this conversation, I think it was designing the tree that can be seen in the dashboard. Basically, it represents the dreams that users track. So, in the first steps during the development of the private beta, I came up with a not that convincing result. This tree, even though it being sort of convincing, was harder than I initially thought, and so the first result was not that good again. So in order to improve it and to give it better results to the user, during the phase between the private beta and the public launch, we started working on it again. So in order to improve the algorithm behind it and the overall results, and this was the tool I worked on to put a few things together. First of all, the new algorithm for drawing the tree, but also the application, a small web application, to allow the designers to play with each and every parameter of the tree rendering, to reach the best possible rendering of the tree. And at some point, when Windows 8 came out, I thought, okay, I've never actually developed for Windows, but I was curious about the possibilities that have been introduced to, thanks to the ability to develop applications with JavaScript. And so I wanted to, see what were, the challenges in porting this application to Windows 8. I also took the opportunity to introduce a few libraries in that project just for my own, testing and because I wanted to implement new stuff. And so more or less these were, all the libraries that were involved. The tree was implemented in canvases, so it was using HTML5 canvases. And so I said, okay, I want to take that and put it into a Windows 8 application and see how long does it take to have a working application. How expensive is that, if you will? And so I found out that basically it's not that hard to port even a moderate complex application. I mean, the application itself is not very complex, but it involves few advanced functionalities and a few good set of libraries. So I found out that the only problem in porting that application was the DOM manipulation. So it was like 90% portable, besides the jQuery part that deals with DOM manipulation. But I was quite lucky because a guy told me that there was a repository on GitHub developed by this company called Append2 that basically forked a version of jQuery that is able to work around the limitations, the security limitations of Windows 8. And so in a very short period of time, I was able to port that without too much effort. And I've also found a theme that was more or less mocking the Metro UI for the jQuery widgets. And so yeah, basically, so this is at the end of all of this little experiment, I can say that porting existing web application, given that you're just relying on JavaScript and HTML, to Windows 8 is pretty easy, and I would probably recommend to give a try to that. But for what concerns the widgets, I'd probably go for the native components if possible, unless you actually relying on jQuery and jQuery UI, and so you got the cheaper to develop that. So more or less this. And I got the signature.
Does anybody have any questions while the next speaker starts?
Can we install it in one of the tablets?
Sure, I have it here. It's not on the store because I'm still waiting for legal stuff to happen, but I have the the package. So if you will, we can just try that. There was a question. Oh, thank you.
All right. First of all, no slides.
Yeah.
Like you know, I have my self-presentation always with me. First of all, this is my company. Second thing I can tell you about me is pretty much on here. So it's like, I do JavaScript, I do HTML5. Well, do you know Honey Badger Don't Care? You don't know it? Yeah, so some of you know, look it up, Google it, it's awesome. I want Munich forward and I want web forward, and that's, I think, pretty much what it's about. Besides that, you are in our place here, and I appreciate that, and it's awesome that so many cool people are here. Please come more often to us and visit us as much as you can. However, well, 2 years ago something happened. This question was posted in like 2009, August. Someone was asking us, easy to access the accelerometer somehow using JavaScript on the iPhone. So it means like, I want to know what direction the iPhone is right now. Well, the answer was always no. Until 2 years ago, there was the question, there was the answer like, yes, with 4.2 iOS it is possible. That's awesome. They did a lot of stuff there to improve the WebKit experience in the mobile Safari. So, well, let's see, what can we do with this? The accelerator events are long ago defined on the W3C definition. It's pretty much cool stuff, and you can do so cool things with it. Especially, I don't know, many people don't know it. You can also track the acceleration of your notebook. Why? Because of the HD drive. So your hard drive has an accelerometer in it, not the SSD drive. So it's not possible with my MacBook Air, but it would be possible with any other notebook to see what direction the notebook is. There are many use cases, but well, let's skip that. There's a cool site, can I use device orientation? I mean, the other problem is who supports it? Of course not IE. Firefox, unfortunately also not. The Chrome, Safari, not really. But the iOS Safari, and that's where we start. Besides that, you see BlackBerry, Opera, Android, and so on and so on. So what we were questioning about was like, what can we do with this? And I love this whole, perceptual computing stuff. The problem is you always need a device you don't carry with you. It's like the webcam, or like there's this sleep motion thing, or there's something like the, if you have seen it, like a bracelet. Yeah, it's pretty much cool stuff, but you need to have it. So we thought about what can we do to get as many people as possible with the devices they carry around together. And that's the cool thing about HTML5 and JavaScript. We can do it. So this is a little game. It works actually on every device. So you could actually join, but right now only Michael will join me. So the site I'm opening looks like this on my phone. It does nothing than show me an ID where I can enter the ID of my player. So if I'm player 1, I can enter 1, 2, 3. You take 2, please. I take 1. Besides that, there are buttons because we thought about we need a fallback, like for my MacBook Air or for, I don't know, a pretty old phone that only has some kind of whatever. Then you can click the buttons on your phone. We wanted to make it more beautiful, but for now it's okay. Is it loading? Yep. Not a mighty word. So let's see. Okay, who's already playing? It's us. Who's screen? Who's whatever? Let's start again. So I am player number 1. Can you start? Yep. Okay, just 2. So okay, this is you. And this is me. And one more button on the left. So I'm a blue snake and I can control it by, however, well, accelerating my phone. And the idea was to catch the dot. As you can see, we're not pretty good at it. Well, the funny thing is, what we thought about this was like, you have so many time where you're waiting when you're somewhere, like on the, I don't know, on the airport or somewhere, and there's all this old static advertisement like paper. And so we thought about what could be a way that people, without downloading any annoying application that wants something and you need to have a device that supports it, what could be a way to get them together. So the idea behind this, you need to see, is actually a football game where 11 players could play with a mobile phone through an internet connection just by accessing the browser from the device, whatever it is. So how do we do it? Just a little short look into the code. What was I losing? Well, it's pretty easy. The event is called device motion, and you attach it to the window. Then you get the acceleration, including gravity, which is important because without the gravity it would be annoying. Then we see, okay, is it 1, 2, 3, or 4, whatever, just do the math, whatever. It's the direction of the phone. The code could be so much improved. Don't really remember, it's like 2 years ago we did this demo. In the background there's a socket server. We do this with Rails, so we use Fay, which is an awesome gem. It took us so long time to do this acceleration thing and the socket thing, but programming the logic of a snake game isn't that easy as I thought, actually, if more players are playing. But it was like 5-6 hours, so you know, you can do pretty much cool stuff with your browser on any device. Just do it, please use HTML5. And for sure, support those devices, it's awesome, but please provide us a plugin for the browser so we can do more cool stuff with it across all devices. So that's all.
So we have one more speaker.
Yeah.
It's Dave Sally. He's going to show us.
Yeah, I have not a proper presentation. My name is Javier. I'm also having a meetup group that is called Creative Coding. So we are like a bunch of people, from designers to programmers, that we like to do creative things with computers. And so the next big thing we are planning is maybe to do something for the Oktoberfest. So we don't know yet what, but I think all of you are free to join us and give your ideas of what we can do during that time. And then you can get some papers for the Oktoberfest for free. So at the same time, I'm also like playing with computers. So I mostly play with the Kinect camera and in Linux mostly. So I have an application that I will like to show you later if you stay here. That is like you can create your own kind of 3D sculpture with the hand. Yeah, sorry. You can basically design your own sculpture with the hand. So it tracks the hand, and because it's a 3D camera, you can it tracks you in 3D, so you can see yourself normally with a beamer, but in this case it will be just in the screen of the computer. You will see yourself. You will see the sculpture you are doing.
and then you will be able also to manipulate it and zoom a bit and move around. That's in real time. So if you want to watch it and do it, just stay a little bit. That's basically it. Yeah.